So after the first 24 hours, a warm front is going to exist over Ohio, Nevada, and kind of cut through California. So it's coming in from the Pacific and it's going to sweep southeast. The type of weather that is usually associated with a warm front are the creation of thin clouds and very mild precipitation. There will also be a cold front that is going to kind of cut through up through Texas and kind of down the middle of the country. And typically, a cold front is associated with thunder, lightning, and very heavy precipitation. And this cold front is going to be moving east. Above Pennsylvania, there is a cold front that is going to swing kind of down and over New York because of the jet stream movement there. And below Pennsylvania, there is a warm front that is moving north. Along the western border of Pennsylvania, there is an occluded front, which is moving east. Occluded fronts are when a cold air front, which is faster, catches up to a warm air front and they kind of mix, but then continue moving in the same direction. The type of weather typically associated with occluded fronts are possible thunderstorms, but it's more commonly associated with the drying of the air mass. On the southwest tip of Pennsylvania, a cold front starts and extends over North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, and Georgia, moving towards the Atlantic. And again, a cold front is when a cold air mass pushes under a warm front, as opposed to a warm front where the warm air slides slowly up and over a cold air mass. Finally, at the southern tip of Florida, another occluded front exists and is going to be moving northwest.
Going from west to east, we have 5 high-pressure systems heading east, as you can see on the map, which should bring clear skies and sunny weather all across the Midwest. The low-pressure systems are interesting, however. If you look at the jet stream radar, you'll see an interesting pattern that is formed near Michigan, a spiral. The low-pressure system here is caught in the spiral currently, keeping a storm cell caught over Pittsburgh, as you can see if we swap to the storms map. There's also one over North Dakota, but that one's moving north, so the storm won't be bothering us for much longer. Another one can be seen drifting rapidly across the southern Midwest, mainly over Oklahoma and Arkansas, so storms can also be expected there. Looking at precipitation around the U.S., one can see, first and foremost, a large storm system over the entirety of the Great Lakes and the surrounding areas. This encompasses Pittsburgh, so we can be expecting rain today. Another storm, smaller than ours, can be seen moving through the southwest, headed east.
We can see that in the first 24 hours that a warm front moves in from the northwest part of the country, heating up Washington, Oregon, as well as parts of Idaho and northern part of California. In the Midwest, we can see a cold front moving through, causing some cooler temperatures starting from Nevada all the way to Nebraska, with a storm cell forming in the northern part of Texas, cooling down that area, as well as a storm cell in the northern part of Minnesota, which will bring some cooler temperatures in the northern part of the Midwest. The storm cell from Minnesota also spreads over to Michigan and has another central focus point over Lake Erie due to a low pressure zone in the area and an occluded front. Down from Michigan, we can see some significant cooling due to another cold front moving its way toward the east coast and reaches the edge of South Carolina. Further up toward Philadelphia, we can see a warm front that is just making its way over, but not heating up the area too badly due to the storm cell that is close by. This results in the temperature drop in the area, but not by much because of the warm front close by, and results in a drop of about 2 degrees Fahrenheit, making the temperature in Pittsburgh 61 degrees Fahrenheit. There's also a cold front moving in from the north, which is causing a slight drop in temperature in New York and Maine.
After 48 hours, that warm front that was originally over Nevada and such will have moved east as predicted and will now exist over New Mexico, Wyoming, Colorado, and such. And that cold front that was originally down the center of the country will have moved east and now exist over Alabama, Kentucky, etc. That occluded front originally on the western border of Pennsylvania will have shifted up And the warm front that was originally below Pennsylvania moving upwards and the cold front above Pennsylvania moving downwards will collide and create a stationary front. Although a wide variety of weather can be found along a stationary front, usually they're associated with clouds, prolonged precipitation, and sometimes storm trains. And finally, that cold front that was originally cutting through Florida will now be over the Atlantic Ocean.
Tomorrow, you can be expecting it to clear up around Texas as the low-pressure system turns northeast, which can likely be expected to arrive in Pittsburgh a couple days from now. The other storm stuck in the jet stream spiral is still there, so we are going to have more rain tomorrow. The storm can be expected to disperse a bit in a couple of days, since a line of high-pressure systems is coming in, and then another can be expected to replace it soon afterwards. That northern low-pressure system is still moving, so at least that one is gone. We can be expecting rain tomorrow in Pittsburgh as that storm cell is still overhead, sticking with the low-pressure system and caught in jet stream spiral. The storm towards our south can be expected to be heading our way.
Now we can see that the warm front from the North Pacific is moving its way through the country and is now in the Midwest, heating things up again as it moves east across the country. We can also see that the cold front has moved from the Midwest and is now as far as Alabama, cooling temperatures as it moves. There is also a storm cell that has formed in the northwest tip of Mississippi, which combined with the cold front has drastically cooled temperatures in that area. At the northern end of the cold front, we see that the occluded front is still around Michigan, but is now centered around a low pressure zone over Lake Huron. This storm combines with the storm that has formed over the stationary front that is over New York. We also see that the cold front has moved its way through the country and is now on its way out to sea. This cold front, along with the storm, has seriously affected the temperature in Pittsburgh. The storm, along with the front, drops the temperature in Pittsburgh about 5 degrees Fahrenheit, making the temperature in Pittsburgh 56 degrees Fahrenheit.